I am your host, Dr. Mark Merriwether Vorderbruggen, creator of foragingtexas.com, author of Idiot's Guide Foraging, and general egomaniac. As usual, joined luckily with my wonderful daughter, Merriwether, helping out, thereby preventing all the problems that I had last week trying to do it by myself. Whew. Okay. Wow. A lot of storms. Hopefully, those of you watching haven't been affected by the storms and all the tornadoes and the flooding and all that going on. If so, sorry. That sucks.
No, stay safe or anything. Stay safe, guys.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
She's the she's the nice one. And then there's the other daughter, who's also here tonight because everything got canceled. Tonight's drink is gin and tonic because I didn't have beer. And she drank it already, but Merriwether was drinking chocolate milk. All right, so now why you are here. So I get lots and lots and lots of requests to identify unknown plants from people. They'll send me some photographs, or they'll just kind of describe the plant, which doesn't work very well. But every day I get, almost 10 different plants that people have sent me asking what it is. To try and answer those questions, I get a lot of plants that I don't know. And so over the years, I've developed a kind of a good set of internet skills to help me figure those out. Now, Foraging Texas, the website, has been around for over 10 years. And when I started this, a lot of the information was not on the internet. I had to search through tons of books. I have a huge library, which the next show will be about, the recommended books to bring you up to speed on plant identification. But over time, as Foraging Texas grew, the ability of the internet to help you identify plants also grew. And so more and more, I shifted a lot of my effort when trying to identify an unknown plant to the internet. My goal then tonight is to share these websites with you and these techniques with you, hopefully to kind of lighten my load some so I can spend more time with Merriwether and the other family members who are not in the picture. Mrs. Weather, I believe, is upstairs sleeping, and Mambo Weather apparently is putting on makeup. I don't know why. Maybe she's going out tonight for, wherever 13-year-olds go out late at night on stormy nights. Anyway, so internet plant searches. Let's talk about that. Your first big, here, let's just go right over to here now. Actually, there's one other. Let me just do Google. A Google search. If you have an unknown plant, the best thing to do is go to Google search and then type in something, like Texas yellow flower tree. Now let's do vine. Vine. Oops. Yeah. Texas yellow flower vine. Oops. And then image search. And then you just start scrolling through and kind of try and figure out, does it look like anything? What's this? We have a yellow passion. Yeah, it has kind of lobe things here. Yeah, this is the plant I'm looking at. So then you just go on the page there, and hey, there we go, a plant. Now, the key to making this technique work is your search terms. So why are you, okay. So being able to describe the plant comes in really handy. I always like putting Texas in there just to limit the searches to Texas because most of the plant searches are in Texas. And then as far as the type of plant, is it a vine? Is it a weed? Is it a tree? Is it a wildflower? Those are really good. If it's a flower, the number of petals. Is it 5 petals? Is it 3 petals? Is it 2 petals? And the color of the flower. So that's really good. Now, let's say you have a plant, let's go with a vine. You have a Texas vine, and it doesn't have any flowers on it, but you can see leaves. And so leaves alternating. So if you've been around with me, alternating is where they zigzag up the stem. And again, you go to the image search. Oops, I keep clicking on the broadcast. So, and you start looking at the different vines that may have alternating. Now, this is a little trickier, but there's lots of different forms you can use. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Another thing is Texas tree pinnate leaf. So what is pinnate? Well, pinnate is a shape of leaf. Oh, look at this, Texas A&M, search by leaf shape. So here's a really great resource that I use. I even forgot to put it in. But if you kind of have an idea of what the type of leaf is, you can search through here. Now this is only for trees, but the morphology of the leaf, it's describing the shape of the leaf. The more accurately and more scientifically you can describe it, the structure of the leaf, the better your search will be, the narrower your search will be. So that's where I like to look at leaf morphology. Let me just zoom in here some. Oops. I have lots of windows open. So let me just, yeah. So there's all sorts of leaf structures. So you can give the shape of the leaf. Is it falcate? Is it orbicular? Is it cordate? All these different leaf structures have a scientific name, and if you add that in the Google image search, you increase your chances of finding the plant. Also, there are all sorts of descriptors for the edge of the leaf. Oops, let me just, are there hairs on the leaf? Is it rounded, bumpy? Is it sharp? All sorts of different things. Is it doubly serrate? I like that one. So by adding that to the description of the leaf, again, in your Google image search, that goes a long way towards zeroing in on what you're looking for. One thing I have found is you can put too many search terms in there. So after the state, Texas, and after the type of plant, tree, vine, bush, weed, whatever, and then a particular plant structure, do like leaves, pinnate veins, crenulated edges, and then do a search from that. So it takes a little while to kind of figure out what's going on. But one thing you will notice is after a while you will start seeing plants over and over, and even if it's not the plant you're looking for, it will be imprinted in your brain. So when you are out in the wild, you go, oh hey, that's a plant I saw while I was looking for this other plant I was trying to identify. So even if you don't get the exact right hit immediately, you are still learning plants, which is really, really handy. So searching, just a Google image search by the type of plant is really, really good. Now, a few other things are the Wikipedia page there that I had open, that Merriwether sent the link to, was mainly on the leaves. The flowers also have I guess it's not clicking for larger, very different structures. So if you can, instead of focusing on the leaves, you focus on the flower of the plant, and then you can, and why is it this getting bigger? You can describe the sort of structure on which the flower is growing. So you can see there's multiple different types there. We got the simple cyme, the spike, the panicle, a head, a compound umbel, all sorts of different things. So if you include those terms in your search, it increases the chances of finding what you're looking for. Now, continuing on structure, Plants of Texas, the Plants of Texas Rangelands by the Agricultural Life Extension, Texas A&M website here. They have a really good page. Again, Merriwether is putting the thing up. Thank you. And so they have it, you can see by like flower color, pink flowers. How many pink flowers are there? Oops. Well, and then it gives it by name, so you got to click on each one of these and see what it is. But if you scroll down to more options, it gives a bunch more information. It gives, is the stem texture, leaf shape, season, these sort of things, plus the family of the plant. And we'll talk later on about identifying the family. But the Texas A&M website is really, really good. Again, a good starting point to help you figure out the plants on your land here in Texas. That being said, the Texas A&M, they kind of focus on plants that are beneficial to livestock or dangerous to livestock. So it may not, have, well, obviously you can't have every plant because of that, but, to focus on just that is what they chose to do. Another good site is the Southeastern Flora. And this is a similar thing where you can pick the plant color. So let's go green flower, a plant form, let's say a vine, a leaf type, simple, leaf arrangement, single, things like that. And then search. Hello. Search. Okay, it didn't find any for that particular combination. So let's go back to, say purple, vine, any type, any leaf arrangement, search, and you get all sorts of wonderful pictures. And so then you just match your plant, your picture, or your flower to the particular picture there. And they got multiple pages here. So that's a handy thing you can use. You just have to know a few simple things about the plant. I said the flower color, the plant form, the leaf type, and the leaf arrangement. Another good one for that is Weeds by Virginia Tech. And they actually have an app too. The Virginia Tech Weed Identification app is really good. Now, the app is actually way better than the website, but I guess one of these days I'll do a program on the apps I use too. But here, with this, you can search by, say, the type. Is it a broadleaf? And then you can look at the growth habitat, the leaf structure, leaf shape, leaf arrangement, all these different features to zero in on your plant. So really, really handy. I heard it ding. Do we have a question or something? Oh,
Nope.
okay. So the Virginia Tech Weed ID. Oops. Really, really handy because, again, you can search by the structural features. And you don't even really have to know the scientific names. It helps, but they understand that you may not know the scientific name, so they actually show you pictures of what they mean by the different features, by a rosette, by a whorled, things like that. So really, 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 really handy. Again, this one is specifically for weeds, so it doesn't show so much vines or trees or things of that nature. Oh, I did have the Texas ID by leaf. They also have, a list of, they have how to ID. And so they go through the different, features of the tree that you can use. But they also just have these pictures of all the trees where it shows the color of the tree normally, and then in the fall, what color the leaves change, a picture of the leaf and the flower, if they have a flower. Sometimes I'll have a picture of the fruit. Yeah. If it has a bean pod, something like that. Excuse me. So really handy, again, just matching pictures. So Texas Tree ID, texasamuniversity.edu. You got it? Cool. All right. And then also the native Natives of Texas Hill Country Native Plants. This one, oh, no, sorry. That was one that just came up from the picture search. Ignore that. All right, so these are a good starting point for using plant structures to try and figure out what you might have. Now, because of the limits of the software, you'll just have to bear with me for a minute here. I need to do, come on, why aren't you doing what I want you to do? Oops, there's why. All right. Oops, where is, hang with me. Okay. Okay, so pictures, just looking at pictures. If you don't know anything, if you don't, can't like count the number of petals on the flower or something like that, all you want to do is look at pictures. And where did that go? Why did that just disappear? Sorry, I am fighting my computer. Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's open this up here. So there are a number of really good ones. First, the Harris County Flood Control District actually puts out a really good booklet. It's a 180-page PDF, free. The link is going up here. For identifying really pretty much all the plants you'll find in the Harris County, Houston area. And of course, this covers a lot of other plant zone or a lot of other zones in Texas too. So basically this particular guide is good for East Texas, the Gulf Coast region, of course the Piney Woods region, the central. It loses some of its ability the farther west you go. But it's great. They go back and talk about the leaf shapes, and also where on a slope. A lot of this is along bayous and flood control areas. But in the end, each page or each plant has its own page with multiple pictures, a description of the plant, what the leaves are like, the growth period, when you'll find it, what sort of soil it likes. Now, they also then proceed to tell you how to kill the plant, and none of them do they include eating it, which is unfortunate because a number of these are edible, like the alligator weed we have up here. This is a nice pot herb. It's an invasive species from South America, but there it was used as food. But this guide, it just has all sorts of really good plants. It has a huge section on aquatic plants. But then it also jumps into, like I said, the grasses. I'm just zooming through here. Bushes, trees, all set up by organization. So if we go back to the beginning, oops. Again, you can see, stop that. So forbs, and basically forbs are weeds. Grasses, shrubs, small trees, and large trees. So you just have to match the picture. Very, very, very handy. Now, if you want to do Texas wildflowers, of course Texas has a good wildflower guide to that. This particular guide, my personal favorite, I've never met Gary Regner, but his website is really, really, really good because, like my favorite plant books, he has all the yellow wildflowers together, all the white and green yellow flowers together, all the purple, blue and purple flowers together, and then also all the orange, the red, and the pink. So it does take a little bit of doing to try and figure out what flower you might have, but it's a useful thing to go by. So the Texas Wildflower Pictures, I found it's really good. You still may have to click on a number of these plants to find your particular one, but eventually, after you go through it once or twice, you'll start remembering a lot. So just by clicking through these, even if it's not the plant you're looking for, you are training your eye to recognize other plants, and you will remember, oh, I saw it there, it's probably this. So really, really, really handy. All right. Do we have any questions at this point?
Could you put the links on your website?
Ooh, good question. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Luckily, I have a nice Word document with all the links, so I will add that as a post to the Foraging Texas website. Any other questions?
Nope.
Nope, no questions? Okay. Then let's go back to plants. So people like to match pictures. It's usually the easiest. So there's another really good website. This is by a private individual on Texas mushrooms. And, 4,237 pictures of mushrooms. So this again, it's a case of just scrolling through and looking for your mushroom. And then, let's say you see this one. Is it popping up? Okay, good. If you click on that, obviously it brings a picture up, but you can also click on the similar and it'll bring all the other mushrooms that look similar to it. And we have a question.
Miss Mary Horn asks, what about nwf.org?
Ah, yeah, so the Native Plant Society of Texas. I will get to that. That is one of the ones I use. In fact, I have it on the link. Yeah, in fact, it's coming up next. You jumped ahead. You're reading my mind. Whoop, another question.
And then Sam Ra asks, is this 180-page book for sale?
Okay, as far as I know, I have not found it for sale anywhere. If we go back to the website, let's just learn together. But I don't believe so. Yeah, let's see. No. Like I said, I've only ever seen it as a PDF. Since it's just put up by Harris County, they really don't have the money to print a whole bunch of copies of this and have it floating around for sale. Yeah, you would pretty much have to like have it on your computer or your tablet, your phone, something like that, to use it. Or if you're willing to use the printer ink, print it out yourself. But you know what? Actually, let's see. Is there a copyright? I don't see a copyright on it anywhere. But that doesn't exactly mean go ahead and just print it out. But again, if they're offering it as a PDF, I don't know. I guess I'll just leave that up to an individual's moral code. All right, let's go back to the mushrooms. So, like I said, this is probably the best guide for just looking at a mushroom and then trying to figure out if it's what you have. Now, keep in mind, once you've identified your mushroom using this particular website, you want to go back to Google and do a whole bunch of Google search on the mushroom name, ideally the scientific name, to try and confirm through other sources that the mushroom you have is correct. Remember, when I talk about identifying mushrooms, you really want to see at least 8 different structural features of the mushroom to compare it to whatever reference guide you're using. But this is a really great starting point. Like I said, it's over 4,000. I'm just going to kill my computer if I do this. But yeah, it's just picture after picture after picture of mushrooms. But then when you click on the link, you click on it, it actually brings up little bit of information, the scientific name of it, some more pictures of it, things like that. And we have a question. Yes.
Couple questions.
All right.
So first, if it's a nondescript weed with no flowers, what would be the best search term to start with? Because right now all she has is my plant is a green weed.
Yeah, those are the top. A nondescript weed. So you would go to one of the weed identification ones, like the.
Dad.
Oh, hey, sorry. Actually, I'd have to go through and alter stuff for, like the Virginia Tech weed guide, and just click on, show all weeds, basically. It's really difficult at that point. You can put in the search term, weed, alternating leaves, or whorled leaves. I mean, you at least know how the leaves are arranged on the plant, and just with those two, and just go through a whole bunch of pictures. Try and find something that has leaves with the same sort of vein pattern, and then wait until your plant flowers. Sometimes you have to be patient. All right, you said there was a.
Second question. So Mr. Wade Phelps says, I know apps aren't covered tonight, so I mean you can answer if it's afterwards if it's more appropriate, but he's curious if you have an opinion on the best paid and best free plant ID apps.
Okay, actually, if you go to the Foraging Texas website, which we can, let's just do that. There is a post. Come on. If you scroll down, oops, went off the edge here. Under useful information, is that where I have it? I believe so. Identifying unknown plants. I'll put all those links here. Ah, yes. Okay, yeah. If you go here, I have a lot of this information there. Set up into categories. So there are weed websites. So this information is already here. If you want to grab a link and post it. So it has weed websites that you can search for your weed apps that I've found that have worked well, and then weed books. Vines, the Vines of Central Texas, it's a PDF file, and then Vine books. There aren't really any apps specifically for vines. Wildflowers, there's a number of different wildflower websites. There's two really, really good wildflower apps that I absolutely love. And that is the East Texas Wildflowers and West Texas Wildflowers. And of course, the Wildflowers book, Wildflowers of Texas. For tree websites, again, there's the Texas Tree Identification. I showed you that one already. And then the Arbor Day Foundation Tree Identification. And then there is, I have three apps, or tree apps. There's Leaf Snap and Tree App. Both of those I've found work well for identifying trees and books. And then just down the line, so it even has West Texas, mushroom apps. Side note, the mushroom app Roger's Mushroom. The creator, Roger, as far as I can tell, stopped updating the app, which is a bummer because it was absolutely fantastic, but it is no longer offered in the Apple website, Apple Store. But yeah, so we got all the links here. Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, so all right, let's close that. Next one, of course, is the Native Plants of Texas search engine. This is another really good one. So here, assuming you know the name already, that helps a lot. But they have special groups. These are mainly to kind of either help you in location, since they're located up in Dallas. It's around Dallas. If you want, why is it not showing up? Okay, there's a number of different special groupings, in particular to help you figure out what you should put in your garden or your landscaping. But then finally, they also have type of plant plus color. So let's say shrubs with various colors, find it. And this is another one of those color matching things where they'll bring up pictures if they have pictures. It doesn't look like they have pictures on everything, but the native plants of Texas search engine, it's pretty good. Okay, it's just taking a while to load. Uh, Really good, though. The more you know about the plant, especially the name, the better off you're going to be. Okay, another one is the wildflowersandweeds.com. Now, this is a not just Texas specific. This is pretty much worldwide, but North America and worldwide. The creator is Thomas Elpel. He is the author of the book Botany in a Day, and basically this is an inline or online version of that book that it just walks you through learning all the characteristics. So this is more when you're bored waiting for a bus or something, you just want to start training yourself how to identify the family of a plant. So there's approximately 152 families of plant, and we'll just start here. But like Astorisa, it'll give you, that's the maple family, it'll give you the structural features that all maples have as far as the leaves, lots of different pictures and so forth to help you train your eye to recognize that particular family of plant. And like I said, it goes through and there's 152 different families of plant. The buttercup family, this is a common one because I get asked about it a lot. But by training yourself to recognize the structural features of the plant, you're already ahead of the game as far as figuring out what you're looking for. Sorry, I thought it was a question. It was just hand jive, apparently. Sometimes people get bored sitting here listening to me babble. Okay, so those are some more internet websites that are very, very good for helping you figure out the plant, specifically Texas plant, and then later on training yourself to recognize a family of plant to speed up the process. So there's another series of plants, and like I said, if you just hold on here a second, I have to bring this up. So Facebook, if you are on Facebook, oops, there are a number of websites that I recommend. First being Texas Flora. Now this is a group, you do have to join it. But the nice thing about this is it's really good for plant identification. So it's just filled with post after post of pictures of plants that people want identified. So there's, what kind of gourd is this? This is a buffalo gourd, in case you're wondering. But when you are posting a picture, they recommend multiple pictures, very, very clear, close up, one of the whole plant, one of the leaf, one of the flower, fruit, and then at least the county where it's located, and then people will jump in and say, oh, that's an X. What does it say here? 15 comments. Now, here's one thing, oops, about any sort of Facebook group. Oh, wow. Thanks, Julie. She posted my thing there. So, most people are really good. Yeah, so Buffalo Gourd, Buffalo Gourd, Buffalo Gourd. Yeah, So a lot of people will be posting the name. A lot of the time they are correct, but oops, sorry, where did it go? That being said, don't just go with the first name that someone posts up there. Double check and do another Google search on the name. Like, even this, you could go check and double check Buffalo Gourd. I mean, there's a link to my website, so you can even go there and check out, compare it to your plant, or what they're claiming this plant to be. Because I do find there's probably a 10 to 20% misidentification uh, on there. Like if there are 20 people saying it's a this plant, you know, 18 of them will be right and maybe two of them will be wrong. And so you just kind of want to go through and make sure. And some of the more plants that have a lot of mimics, there will be more wrong there. So boiling it down, when you're using, say, the Texas Flora to help identify your plants, you post the pictures, double check what people tell you. Okay, another good one is the Texas Medicinal Plants Guild, because they will do plant identification. They prefer that you don't post unknown plants, but if you do, there will be some kind soul that will help you try and figure it out. But here it's mainly devoted to Texas medicinal plants, and like anywhere else on Facebook, double check the information you receive there. There's the Texas foraging community. Just to point out, Texas foraging community is not associated with Foraging Texas, my website. This was set up by some other people. That being said, I post on here fairly often, and there's quite a few of you who are on there too. And they again are, now they say they don't like identifying plants, and that's true. So you're better off going to Texas Flora or one of those for identifying things. And then just here, it's more discussing, what you're going to do with the plant. Or if you say, hey, I think this is black nightshade based on the color of the flowers and the direction of the petals, and you give a whole bunch of information showing why you think it is that plant, then people are a little more generous in sharing the information too, because it showed you put forth the effort rather than just putting up a picture and saying, what is this? So it's like anything else in life, the more effort you put out, the better your return on the investment of time will be. So the Texas Foraging, great group of people, all sorts of fantastic recipes. I probably gained 10 pounds just because of them. Oops. All right, another good one is the Texas Mushroom Identification, and this is specifically for identifying mushrooms you find in Texas. How awesome is that? So, like anywhere else, the more pictures and the more information you can give. So, multiple pictures of the mushroom, where it's growing, what it's growing on, what county it was found in, what the underside of the cap looks like, if you can cut the cap in half, what it looks like, all these different structural features that help with identifying mushrooms. Really, really, really good information there. And then just the general plant identification and education. This is not just Texas, this is more all of North America and even international. But again, it's a good place for posting questions about what is this plant, because there are some amazingly intelligent and helpful people on these websites. But like anywhere else, the more information you can give, and in particular, if you already have an idea, post, you can request, is this a ground cherry? I believe it is because of this, and this. People will be very, very willing to help you. Or whatever information you can give. I found this green nondescript weed in central Texas with alternating leaves, with a pinnate vein structure and an intact or entire leaf edge. Anyone have any ideas? And you'll get some. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so those are the Facebook sources that I find are really good. And it's good to be a part of this and just watch their posts, because you can go, whoops, I always do this wrong. Notifications. You can do all posts or highlights, things like that. just to be kept up to date on it. On where is it? Okay, yeah, the different. Uh, do you want to see everything all the time? Some of these groups are pretty busy, so you might get overwhelmed. But I really recommend, at least at the beginning. Oops. Ah, excuse me. With the notifications. All right. Well, yeah, you have choices, but you can get notification each time there's activity or an important page update. What I do is I just get, once a day, the kind of synopsis of what's been posted, and I can go look if there's a plant I don't recognize, I'll go and check it out, see what it is, and learn. Otherwise, I just kind of, check it out, make sure there's nothing awkward or weird going on. Okay, so that's that. Now we got one more. Do we have any questions?
Nope.
How many people we have here tonight? Oh, a lot of people actually. Cool.
You can see him in there.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Right
She's so smart. Awesome. Okay, last is. Whoops, that's not what I wanted.
Medicinal.
Yep. Medicinal plants. All right, just a minute. Let me get rid of that. Ooh, I got a notification. Andres is following me. Whoop, what happened? What happened? Okay, sorry. Page freak out here. Okay, so next I want to talk about places I go to get medicinal information about plants. Like I said, as a chemist, as a scientist, I prefer scientific data and scientific research on the plants, something that's been proved scientifically, as opposed to something like Henrietta's herbals or Culpeper's herbals or traditional uses. Not saying the traditional uses may not be correct, but if I'm going to talk about a plant, I want to try and be as accurate as I can. And so I really am only willing to stick my neck out on things that have been proven scientifically. So for that, I go to ResearchGate. And what's wonderful, you need to sign up for an account on it to get all the information. That being said, the accounts are free, so there's no money involved. You just sign, make an account. I recommend using some sort of professional sounding name as opposed to, Squirrel Killer 303 at yahoo.com, because one of the nice things about researchgate.net is it allows you to directly communicate with the scientists who did the research, and they're more willing to respond to you if you have frankly, a name that doesn't make them kind of scratch their heads and wonder why, Insane Clown Posse 44113 is asking about the ultraviolet blocking of different plants. So just a little tip there for that. But with ResearchGate, you could just type in, let's say, nightshade heart. Actually, let's just do nightshade medicine. And we'll go to publications. And we will wait. And so then they get all sorts of papers, scientific papers, on the different medicinal properties of nightshades. Also using nightshades to do other things. So it's really, really handy just looking for scientific information. Let's do turkey tail mushroom medicine. So, turkey tail mushroom in the treatment of breast cancer. Breast cancer, turkey tail mushroom, macrophage stimulating activity of polysaccharides. So there's all sorts of wonderful papers here. In a lot of cases, since I have an account, I can go get the full text, and it will bring up all the information. The whole paper will be there for me to read. So, awesomeness. And I'm going faster than it can download, but oops, where is it? Oh, so yeah, you actually have to download it. So really, really, really handy. This is probably my number one. Oh, sorry. Now she's doing ballet. So the ResearchGate is my number one place for going to plant medicine, and then the other one is the U.S. National Library of Medicine. Their PubMed, and it's kind of the same thing. So let's do turkey tail mushroom medicinal and search.
Will it be too scientific for us?
Will it be too scientific for you? It depends on how scientific you are. Yeah, it goes. These are actual scientific research papers published in medicinal journals. Um, but the nice thing is the abstracts, if nothing else, are going to be simplified and give you the information you need to know. So uh, let's just click on this first one here. So the mycochemical investigation of turkey tail medicinal mushroom Tramatis versicolor, a potential application of the isolated compounds and documented pharmacological studies, which means we extracted a bunch of different chemicals from turkey tails and tested them a bunch of different medicinal properties, and this is what we found. Now, from there, we got the abstract, and they start going into the specific things. Yeah, they start listing the chemical names and different properties. A good thing is often, whoops, there's ways of downloading it. Not all these are going to be available, but a lot of times once I have the paper, I will jump to the very end where it gives the conclusions. And that's where it really gives you the information you're after. Yes, this mushroom had this compound and it was proven to work against X. And then you can just, bleep over all the scientific names and so forth. Because in the end, you're not going to do the specific extractions probably that they did to isolate individual compounds. You're just going to take the whole mushroom. So it doesn't matter. You're either going to make a tea out of it or soak it in alcohol of some sort. But it's a good way of finding if the plant has been proven to have some medicinal use. Okay. Oh, 8:52. I meant to end it right now. So yeah, like I said, the main purpose of this is to help you develop your ability to use the internet to identify your plants. I know it's always nice just to ask someone, but it's in the long run, the more you improve your ability to identify the skills, the better off you're going to be. And so with these links and this information, it will help you identify the plants on your own. You don't have to wait for me. I will say order of how quickly I identify the plants. It's usually Facebook and Instagram and then email. But in each of those cases, it can take me 3 or 4 days before I get to it because I have such a backlog. So I'm, always 3 or 4 days behind. Especially if, like tonight, I'm not going to identify any after this. I gotta have supper. So hopefully this has helped you. Oop, is that a question?
What about grasses?
Grasses. I hate grasses. They there are websites and there are books by Texas A&M devoted to identifying grasses. Me as a forager, it doesn't really matter what grass it is. Most of them are not consumable for humans, whereas pretty much all grass seeds are. So I've never gone into the effort of figuring out how to tell the 137 different native grasses and over 200 added grasses. She likes to be on camera. So do I. It's a family thing. So when it comes to grasses, I don't bother with that. But there, like I said, there are websites, there are books that are dedicated to the very, very minute details you need to identify grasses. Okay, any other questions?
No,
No
not that I
questions.
see.
All right. Well, in that case, we're going to end class 5 minutes early. I really don't have any words of wisdom. I haven't done any stupid mistakes this week that I am willing to admit to, so I haven't learned anything new. Um, but,
Stay safe, everyone, with the weather.
oh yeah, yeah, she's the one that
Don't,
she's like the heart of the show. I'm the brains, she's the heart and the brain. Well,
Careful when driving.
yeah,
Be safe.
yeah.
Headlights.
Turn around, don't drown. There's a good words of wisdom. She's learning to drive, so she's really good.
They're on
too.
high alert when it comes to me.
No, no, no. She gets my old truck. It's cool. Okay, enough about us. Next week, I will be talking about the books that I use, or at least used to use and still use. Um, you never know when the internet's going to go poof, and you may need this information when there isn't the internet. So there are a number of books that are really, really useful to have on hand, and that will be next week's. All right, enough babbling. I need food. So good night, everyone. Love you all. See you next week. Thanks for hanging out, spending your seconds with us. Bye bye.